We are here at Hacker Lab for bringing you another episode. This is actually one that has been in the works for a while since the first time we met. I'm trying to think back to when was the first time we met. I think it was at 1 Million Cups.
I believe that's so.
Within the last year.
Yeah.
And since then, there's been a discovery process, with our relationship and whether there's no relationship at all or what that entails. Because there's been so much discovery since the first time we met at 1 Million Cups. And I've been going on, because I'm fairly new into the startup stack community myself, and I presented back in 1 Million Cups within the last year, and I've been doing a lot of discovery myself. And so, Dodger Chica, Health Navigator.
Mental Health Navigator, yeah.
And so just introduce yourself to...
Yeah, so hi y'all. My name is Dolores, and I am the co-founder and CEO of Mental Health Navigator. And I'm just grinding it out, trying to, I got some great feedback when I presented at 1 Million Cups back in, what was that, May. And also finished the Sacramento Entrepreneurship Academy in May as well. And so just taking all the feedback that I got from there and just applying it to take my idea to a new level, and just continually learning. As an example, just this weekend, I was a member of a startup weekend in Techstars startup weekend, and we were challenged to create a business in 54 hours. And so that was great because I learned a lot about people, about great ideas. I learned, we put together this company, and it was a really great experience. Highly recommended to all. And gets you to kind of think about, validation of your, market validation, and kind of who is your target market, and just building that business. And then at the end of the 54 hours, you pitch it, and a round of judges makes a decision. And so I was fortunate enough to be part of the Campus Smart team, and we were able to get first place, so that was cool. And so really learned a lot about being in a team, and also the absolute necessity for market validation. So learned a lot from that. So just grinding it out on Mental Health Navigator. Should I talk about what Mental Health Navigator is?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Mental Health Navigator. So I was diagnosed with a serious mental illness several years ago. And as a result, I felt very isolated, socially isolated. And I decided to, I didn't know who to connect with and where to...
Okay, real quick before we get into your personal story. Yeah. So when you presented back at 1 Million Cups, you presented the Mental Health Navigator thing, right?
I did.
All right. And so being in the audience at that time, seeing the PowerPoint, the business model, the presentation, I was like, okay, mental health. I think it's a great idea. Mental health is something that is demanded now more than ever, possibly. And it just made sense. And so that was back in May. I mean, now it's March. So it hasn't even been 12 months yet, a year yet.
Right.
And other than what we've been working on over this last year, how has it grown since May when you presented at 1 Million Cups?
Yeah, well, as a result of 1 Million Cups, I changed quite a number of things. The feedback that I received at 1 Million Cups was extraordinary, and it was so helpful because I had several people talk about some of basically the business model, and how to, and then the types of types of people that I'm, the market that I'm targeting. And so I took that feedback, really kind of thought about it, and also asked the community too, in terms of, that type of who exactly would be my customers. And as a result, I found out that the folks at 1 million Cups, that feedback were spot on. So I changed things as a result. And so it went from a piece of from a business. Well, it went from a business that was focused on advocacy to a absolute change, because of the fact that I was told that it takes it's very labor intensive, and sure enough, they were right on. So
okay, what were those changes that you made for now?
Yeah, so
2020, say.
Yeah, 2020. So what I did is I changed the model to be one of it offering services on a strictly web-based perspective. So no, the way I had it before is that people would ask for, we would have navigators, actually individuals who would provide these services to people. You get on the phone, you talk to somebody, kind of on demand help. And I decided that was just not feasible. So just scratched that, went to more other different services that would be completely web-based and app-based. And so reduce the people power, the labor that would have been that I would have incurred with the navigators, and just kind of a way to provide the same types of services in a way, but in a but just changed it so it would be a lot easier to get those services and to reduce my actually just reduce my labor costs.
Okay, so it's March 2020, and the reason why we're here now doing this podcast with Dolores, and the reason why I haven't done it previously, is because the Startup Weekend Techstars that you won recently, that were what, last week?
Last weekend, yeah.
Last weekend, right? And you and your team won that. So even though it was something completely different than the mental health, you would say, that kind of really validated you as an entrepreneur and what you're able to bring to the table in regards to, like, it doesn't matter what idea it is, what team you're working with, you as an entrepreneur can bring something to the table that's valuable now. And that Startup Weekend validated you for me. And so, which is why we're here now doing this podcast, as with Dolores as my special guest right now. And so are you taking anything from that and applying that to mental health Navigator?
Absolutely. It was such a great experience. And the reason I wanted to do that is because, and I mean, it's a commitment, because it's like Friday, evening all the way to Sunday evening. And other than like to get some little bit of sleep, I mean, you're involved, and you are having to forge relationships with people you don't even know. So that's exciting and challenging. I wanted to do it because I wanted to know what it was like to be a team, to be a team member, right? So I wanted to, be able to have my piece and to be able to help contribute to an idea that's not mine. And so it was no matter what the idea is, the bottom line is you still have to go through those steps. You still have to think about, validating your idea. You have to go through the, who is your, evaluating who is your market, who, all those steps. And so I think that, I got a lot out of it in terms of, just how to be a team member, and how to, and the importance of really not just having an idea, but seeing if anybody even thinks that you think it's a problem, we need to go out there and find out if it really is a problem.
Okay, and so with that team,
Yeah.
you know, because my experience with the startup weekend is I've been there, done that. First time, last time that I'm going to do something like that, because my main focus is my business that I started, you know, that I'm the CEO of now, that I incorporated. And so having done that, you know, we started from scratch, right? And
Right.
built something from the ground up, picking teams, forming an idea. I mean, I recommend at least doing it like one time,
sure.
you know?
For sure.
And I've known some people who've done it multiple times, and that's, you know, to each his own there. And so are you going to, since your team took first, like when I did it, my team didn't even really place top 3, and so you won the whole thing, took first. It was at Sacramento State, which is, it was a great place. I think, you know, I mean, I would have done it. And so are you going to be working for that team startup that you won with? Or is it kind of just like at the end of that, that's the end of it?
Yeah, I haven't really, discussed it with the founders, the folks that had the idea. I'm very committed to Mental Health Navigator, and I want to see that. I want to put all my energies into that. I'm happy to help out those folks who, their idea. It was their idea. So I'm totally happy to help them. But I am very committed to Mental Health Navigator, and I gotta, like you were saying about putting all your effort into that. That's what I want to do, and but I think that I'd recommend to anybody to do that startup weekend and really understand what it's like to, in a very fast-paced environment, to get that idea and kind of run with it and create that business. So yeah, but I'm very much committed to Mental Health Navigator.
Okay, is there all right, that makes sense, being that you're working on that before and you're continuing to work on that after, and so that was just
Can I add too on that? May I?
yeah.
I was just going to add that I realize how far I've come in that the things that, we were going through, and the founders who have never, it was just an idea that they've had. I realized how much I've learned about, the lean startup method and, how to put a business together. So, that was very affirming.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's about it, I mean, do you want to dive a little deeper into where to send the viewers and how do they get plugged into Mental Health Navigator?
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for this opportunity. mentalhealthnavigator.net. If you are somebody or who suffers from mental illness, or knows someone who suffers from mental illness, and they're experiencing social isolation, they are experiencing a need to connect with people, mentalhealthnavigator.net is a community that will embrace you and help you through this time. And you are going to be immediately welcomed in an environment that is judgment-free, stigma-free, and we will embrace you throughout your mental health journey. If you want to first get in touch with me through Mental Health Justice on that's a Facebook page that I have, and then see what we're all about. And I'm putting together Mental Health Navigator.net. It's a web page. It doesn't have all the services that I want to incorporate. That's part of the business model, is to get folks to subscribe to Mental Health Navigator with all the services. And we want to be able to walk this journey with you, and it would be our privilege, and we want And if you want to connect with our community, if you also want to find services, this is going to be another piece of Mental Health Navigator, is to help you find services and help you understand and research your disease. And same for family members. If you don't know what to do for your family member, who is suffering from a mental illness, or then please check out Mental Health Justice on the Facebook, on my Facebook page, and then also Mental Health Navigator. We're going to be a community that's going to embrace you and your family member.
All right, let's dive a little deeper in that. So mental health justice, justice is a thing that's
right,
legally and lawfully abiding, and and so justice for all, what's that saying, Pledge of Allegiance or whatever, right? And so my background is I'm a fitness guy, sports guy, and I know the physical health is important, nutrition,
Absolutely.
In regards to health. Mental health is something that's like, it goes along with the physical health, and being mental sometimes is even more important than the physical health.
Right.
Or, vice versa, without, the mind being strong, how, can the body really be strong, or vice versa there. And so, mental health doesn't necessarily have to be an illness. It could just be supporting a healthy lifestyle, and all around, just the aesthetics of things,
Absolutely.
the feng shui of things could be, in an environment where, whether you're alone, you could be alone in your own space, in your own environment, be lonely,
Right.
and it doesn't have to be a bad thing. Sometimes people need to be alone to
Absolutely.
to really, escape from society and out external influences and things like that. If some people need to be a part of a community of like-minded people, then Health Navigator, right?
Mental Health Navigator,
Mental
yeah.
Health Navigator.
Yeah, and I think that you're absolutely right. Just because, when if you make a choice to be alone, in terms of, because that fits your lifestyle, that's cool, right? I think that, Mental Health Navigator and Mental Health Justice Facebook page, my aim has always been that your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get to a time when people who are going to be without stigma attached to mental health, just like if you say, I have diabetes, or I have high blood pressure, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
There's not a stigma attached to that. But the minute you say you have a mental illness, there's a whole lot of things that people think about that.
That's bad.
That's bad, yeah.
And that could go wrong.
Yeah. So,
and it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
And it's dangerous. And people,
have you heard of 5150 or
right,
whatever?
Right.
That's a danger to yourself and to others.
Yeah.
So one thing that I'm really have personal experience with is suicide.
I'm sorry.
There's always been that thought of, man, there's a million ways to die.
Right.
So choose one. And then it's like, all right, it's a life and death is almost a contradiction. I was just thinking about this. Life and death is a contradiction. A million ways to die. Choose one. Why put yourself in that state of awareness? And so I've had friends who have successfully committed suicide, and who have failed, where they're alive, they're still alive, and they have done some things, for suicide. And that's why I'm like, want to drive some traffic to your Facebook page, which is Mental Health Justice.
Mental health justice, yeah. Please,
Okay.
thank you. I appreciate that. And
All right.
we're all touched by this disease. I believe that. I mean, the statistics bear that out. But just when we think about family, friends, maybe ourselves.
Yeah, all that stuff, right? And so with the business model canvas, dollar signs. Let's talk dollar signs.
Yeah.
What when I say dollar signs to Mental Health Navigator, what is that model, profit model?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at a subscription model, so a freemium and a subscription model where you're going to be able to choose different tiers of help. And so you'll get on the website, and depending on the types of services that you desire, there'll be a tier of help for you. And this is everything from wellness checks to interactive real-time communication with other people on the site, also hosted webinars by people in our community, all sorts of things that are going to be available to you. And so I'm looking at if I could convert even if I could just convert my followers on Facebook, which is about 53,000, we've had 1.4 million engagements in 2 years. If I could do that, we're talking about $10 a month. We can really build this community, and I believe that I've had a proof of concept already with mental health justice, and I've done a great deal of validation, and this is a service that I believe people are going to gravitate to, and they're going to gravitate to because of the fact that there is no one else doing this. And I believe that I know what it's like. I'm walking this journey, and those are the three things that I ask followers. One, do you want to connect? Do you want to learn about this disease? And 3, do you want to find services?
Okay, I'm not Shark Tank, so I'm not going to be brutally honest and just tear your business apart and tear you apart, because I asked for dollar signs and you said the subscription and a freemium, but I'm a numbers guy, so I was really looking for numbers, and because you said the not the turnover but the conversion rate from the 1,000, you said 50,000 around there, 53,000 on the Facebook group to the website, or to the website plugged into the community and all that kind of stuff, which is numbers, but it's not really dollar sign numbers. And so
still working on
freemium
that.
though, freemium. So that's like free, $0.
right. The trick is to be able to convert. So we'll get I believe that getting 100,000 free users is very, very doable.
Okay. One thing we talked about before is the Shark Tank thing. You said that you were picked for a question that you submitted.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's funny.
And so, do you want to share that?
Yeah. So, Mr. Wonderful, Kevin O'Leary, one of the sharks, has a podcast or a YouTube channel rather, and so he has a segment where he just asks people ask questions, and he'll put it on air and either answer it himself, or if he has a guest, he will pose it to them. So my question to Mr. Wonderful was that for people who I'm always being told that to start your funding is to first look at friends and family and to contribute. And so my question was, if you don't come from that type of socioeconomic level where people are going to be able to give you money to start your business, what do you do then? And so it just so happened on February 4th, that aired, and he asked his guest, who happened to be Mark Cuban, his fellow shark. And so Mark Cuban basically replied that sweat equity. It's got to do it all yourself, and just work smart, work lean. And he understood that, you know, some people don't have access to cash or to readily available cash from friends and family. And then that just means you have to work harder, you might work smarter, and put in that sweat equity. So that was cool to be able to get that, straight from the sharks. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. One thing that so 9 out of 10 startups fail. 1 out of 1,000 odds really of startups going to be successful. You know, I'm no different. I'm even though I studied business, you know, and I started my own business and I incorporated, and I'm CEO, and I'm a farther along than most other entrepreneurs, I would say. I mean, in regards to from a startup level idea.
Yeah.
Not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but
no, you've done a great job. You've done a great job.
Right. And so my perspective on that sweat equity, you know, Mark Cuban, sweat equity is something that there's a lot there to learn from.
For sure.
My answer is a little different. I would say before going to friends and family, validate, you know, yourself as an entrepreneur and your business, those two things separately. Because, you know, it's like if legit partners give you money and you bring that to your friends and family and say, you know what, I have a legit partner that gave me legit money, and then you bring that to your friends and family first before anything with that validation, they're going to be like, oh wow, this is legit, it's real. You validated yourself. Art of persuasion. And then because I know personally a lot of people, entrepreneurs, startup people with ideas, they go to their friends and family first to get validated. And it just destroys their business.
Right.
Because their friends and family are saying, don't do it, it's a terrible idea, you're not going to, don't risk, you know, your sanity, your career. And so it's
or worse yet, they'll say it's a wonderful idea, we love it, when they're just trying to be nice.
Right. Yeah. Even Mr. Wonderful wouldn't tell you it's a wonderful idea if it's not profitable,
right.
Revenue, expenses, you know.
Right.
Mr. Wonderful is really like almost the toughest one sometimes, and so you know that from experience. And so now that you validate yourself as an entrepreneur, I would say you have to validate your business in regards to the dollar signs of profitability. You know, how much did you make last year?
Yeah.
Right. What are you projected to make next year based on last year's income? Income is key. Income is key. You know. Yeah. So your team, what's your team like?
Well, you know, that's what I'm working on now. Is it's probably my biggest challenge is to find a technical co-founder and really just be completely dedicated.
Titles? So is there any titles?
CTO, yeah.
Okay.
And just someone who's just really going to just hash it out, grind it out with me.
And you are?
The CEO.
All right.
So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who has the technical skills to build this and to be able to just really, not just somebody who's just gonna like code, but just somebody who's really gonna grind it out with me, and where we can disagree on stuff, agree on stuff, and really, really have a partnership to put this thing together. Because I think that's the hardest thing. It's like I always say, it's like it's even harder to find a good man. It's not as hard to find a good man than to find a co-founder. And you know,
is it just as hard or harder?
I think it's harder to find a co-founder. So so that's my thing is I'm right now challenged by that because I'm at a place where I can't really, it's hard for me to move forward without that, but I need somebody just totally dedicated.
Well, I'm a good man. I'm a founder. I think I'm qualified to be that person.
You got your own gig going, man.
Yeah, right,
You're
right.
doing great.
So that's the thing. That's the thing, you know, is those people who are what you're going to be looking for are going to be doing their own things.
Right.
They're going to be busy with other things. They're going to be, you know, like all over the place. So it's like, that's why it's really tough, you know.
It's tough.
So
it's tough. It's my biggest challenge right now. And also, just like you said, is really, really honing in on that business model. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those numbers.
All right. So I think that's just about anything, you know. I mean, what's next?
Just keep grinding it out. I'm going to, enter some, I'm really struggling, with, to find dollars to fund this thing. So I'm just going to keep on, doing, just trying to, cast my web, extensively to get money.
I'm in the same. I'm in the same like thing because
gotta get money.
Because gotta get money, right? You know, funding, bootstrapping, lean innovation. It all requires money at the ground level, and then getting anything off the ground is super challenging.
Yeah.
And dang near impossible without funds. So that's where you gotta find similar people doing similar things at a similar stage of their business, and work together collaborative. You know, make some collaborations, and do. I mean, that's about all you can do. I mean, you've already done a lot, which brings you here. There's only so much you can do more that you haven't already done. And so death is inevitable, you know. I mean, right? Life and death, the life cycle of businesses. You know, some startups only have a 6-month shelf life. Right. So it's been longer than that.
For sure. Well, I'm dedicated to this, and if there's somebody out there that has, technical skills that really believes in the mission of Mental Health Navigator, mental health justice, please get in contact with me. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, that's about it. You know, I'm trying to think in conclusion. Facebook page, Mental Health Justice. Go to the website from there. There's gonna be a lot of information on there.
For sure.
And in regards to what's next, it's going to be just funding and developing that. You know, you need a CTO, a tech person, and anything else?
Yeah, just thank you for the opportunity, and always in awe of what you're doing and what you continue to do, and just really appreciate having this opportunity.
Great. That's it. Like, subscribe. Thank you.